Hello, everybody. This is JD. I've been campaigning a little bit on my Facebook, and I hear a few people bring up the name Huckelbee. And I think it's about time to tell you all the difference between me and Huckelbee. Me, I have my priorities set between my wife, my God, and my country. And that's it. My loyalty will be to you always as an American. First and foremost, I believe it's separation of church and state. My loyalty is to my wife, my loyalty is to my God, and my loyalty is to my country. And I have nothing before that. And they're all pretty even, except for my wife's a little more. Can't say that about Huckelbee. His loyalty is to the Republican Party. Not for what he stands for, but the actual Republican Party. Now, how could I say that about this man? Well, I always believe in this saying, actions speak louder than words. He always talks about his loyalty to the country and the people and God. So, what does he do? I'll have to explain the whole thing to you. We had a lieutenant governor who was keeping an innocent man that he knew was innocent in jail. What actually happened is when the boy was young, 13, 14, 15 years old, he knew this girl. And they moved, his family moved to North Carolina. Well, the girl's parents caught her looking at pornography on the internet. So she blamed it on this boy having sex with her, who never did have sex with her. And she figured since he wasn't in the area, nothing would happen. The parents pursued it. The boy was extradited from North Carolina, came up here, trial was, and you had he said, she said, and that was it. No evidence of any sexual relationship. He said, she said, and that was it. Jury found him guilty and threw him in jail. 3 years later, the girl confesses that she actually lied because of the pressure of her parents. She was afraid of her parents. So, seeing that he moved away, she blamed it on him. And that's why she was looking at pornography, figuring nothing would happen. But it did happen. And the boy did go to jail. Now, our lieutenant governor, which is now running for governor under a Republican ticket, refused to let this man out of jail. He refused. Our governor had to go over his head and do the job. Because the lieutenant governor would rather keep an innocent man in jail until he could review the paperwork. Well, I don't think an innocent man should spend 1 day, 1 minute, 1 hour, or 1 second in jail. At all, never mind what happened. And he should have been released immediately. Let the paperwork catch up. Get him out of jail. But that wasn't the case with the lieutenant governor. He said he will stay in jail. Our TV stations had to actually put it all over the news and send it up to the governor. And that was the only way the young man got out of jail. And he had to stay in the state of Virginia for a while till every paperwork got done. And he did that. And then he went home. Now this lieutenant governor is now running for governor on the Republican ticket. Who comes to support him and back him? Huckelbee. The very man who says that he's for you and each individual. But yet he's supporting a man who would keep an innocent man in jail. I could never support that individual. He lost any vote that I would ever have for anything. I wouldn't support him for dog catcher if that was a vote. Because the lieutenant governor did not believe in the individual. Now I watch Huckelbee and what he says and everything. Then why did Huckelbee support this man? Because he's trailing and they're both Republicans. Hucklebee's loyalty is to the Republican Party. And that's it. That's for first and foremost. And everything else falls behind. That's the difference between me and Huckelbee. The real difference. When I tell you I'm for you, I don't care what the Republican Party says. I don't care what the Democrat Party says. I don't care what any political party says. I care what you say. I care how you are being treated. I care what's happening to you. And that's what I'm all about. Nothing to do with political parties. Now, if Huckelbee says, well, I didn't know this. Well, come on. That would be just adding to the fire. There's no way he could not have known. The bottom line is, truthfully, both governors aren't worth a darn in my opinion. But this individual does not deserve anything at all, in my opinion, in the political arena to serve the people. When he can't serve the people, he doesn't know how to serve the people. But that's my opinion. And that's my difference between me and Huckelbee. My word is my bond. Nothing else will overcome what I say. If I say I am this, then I am this. I do not change it for anybody else. Especially for a political party. I do not hold, if I become president, let me put it to you this way. There once was a man in a temple that was preaching about God and the kingdoms of heaven and love. And the rabbis wanted to trap him. So they asked him, who do we pay our money to? The tithes or the taxes? And this man, very wise, asked for a coin, held up the coin, said, whose face is on the coin? And he said, Caesar's. And he looked at him and said, well, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, and render unto God what is God's. And I put in there, and the twain shall never mix. Separation of church and state is there. That's the man who said separation of church and state. Other people wrote about it, but Jesus is the man who said separation of church and state at that point. So as your president, I must be more concerned about you than anything else other than my wife. And God will allow it because that is my duty and responsibility. And by doing my duty and responsibility, I honor God. Even though I separate the church and the state. I will defend the right of every single American to practice the beliefs they hold true. No matter what religion you are or are not. I will defend the right of an atheist to my death as strongly as I will defend the right of a Christian or any other religion. That's right. But remember, all have equal rights. So, for example, if an atheist comes to me and says, we got to do something about the main street of this town. It's got 5 churches on it. It's got crosses and stars and half moons on it. And I don't believe in any gods. Why should I have to look at that? You're right. He doesn't have to look at it. Then why is he looking at it? He needs to look the other way because those other people have just as much right to see it. And that's what equal right is. Defending the right. No one has a right to go to that atheist, hold his head, and say, look at that star. Look at that half moon. Look at that cross. No one has that right. No one can make him. At the same time, no one has the right to grab a person of belief and make their head look at a brick wall and say, that is your God. Nothing but man-made stuff. See? That's equal rights. That's equal protection under the law. And that's what I will give each and every one of you. From the time you're born, inside our borders, to the time you die. And my word is my bond. I'm not going to tell you I am for you and then go and support someone who would throw you in jail for nothing and keep you there when it's proven you're innocent. I will not do that. I could not support a person of such. Because it's against everything we stand for. Everything that's real. That's the difference between me and Huckelbee. Huckelbee is a Republican first. I am an American first. I will defend your rights over everything and everybody. I will not stand up for injustice to anybody. I will not turn my head because a group of people say, you ought to turn your head. You support that guy. No. I will not support what I do not believe to be true. And you notice I said believe. Truth is what we believe to be true. Doesn't mean it's true. It's how we perceive the truth. There's always 3 truths in any discussion. Your truth that you perceive, my truth that I perceive, and the real truth, which probably neither one of us perceive. Now, do I judge that lieutenant governor? No. That's God's job. I cannot judge him. Do I judge Huckelbee? No, I cannot judge him. Because if I judge any of them, God said, how I judge, I shall be judged. But, can I say what I feel is truthful? The difference between me and Huckelbee is that I am an American first and he is a Republican first. That's the difference. Who do you want in the White House? A political party member or an American? He goes to the party for support. I go to you for support. He stands and backs the party. I stand and back you. If I do only one thing as President of the United States, this one thing, I will die a happy man. And the one thing is to give you, the people, your government back into your hands. You have the control of the American federal government, not Washington, D.C. So before I end this, I'm going to ask you a question, and I'll give you the answer. And this is for each and every one of you. And I don't care how you exercise this thing, but you must do it. The question is, what kind of democracy would you have if nobody voted? Or plain and simple, not nobody, if you don't vote. What kind of democracy would you have if you don't vote? Now, like I said, I don't care who you vote for, as long as you vote. The answer is, you would have nothing. It will do nothing towards you. Think about that. Because I need each and every one of you to start supporting me. Start writing in your names. And start believing that yes, we can do it. An impossible task that can be done. But we, the people of this nation, have to do it all together. That's the only way. All 50 states. See those stars up there? They all got to join together. I'd like to make a snake, cut it in 50 pieces, put a name of each state in that flag of the snake, and say, divided, they win, the federal government. United, we win, the people. That's what it's all about. And now you know the difference. Other than that, Huckelbee and I are very much on the same line. And one thing I will tell all of you, every day in my prayers, I trust in God, and then I do my very best. That is very important. To trust in God and do your very best. It hasn't failed me yet. Thank you all for your time. And ask me any questions you wish, and I'll do a video on it if I haven't already done one. And I will answer them truthfully. Thank you again. This is JD. Have a good night. And remember, I need you all to believe in me so that we can get our government on the right track. And if I do only one thing, which I plan on doing much more, the most important thing is to give you all back the American government. Thank you. Have a nice day. This is JD.